bad shape as far as yours, so you'll have to talk loud, please.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. Hello, my name is Angel Jackson, and I am a student in the Project Next Generation program at the Key Public Library. Today is October 11, 2016, and I am at Mantino's Veterans Home in Mantino, Illinois, interviewing U.S. military veteran Edward Kurnat Sr. Ed, where and when were you born?
Talk louder.
When and where were you born?
I was born in Chicago, November 10th, 1923.
Okay. Where are your parents and what are your parents' names and where were they born?
John and Anna.
What were their occupations? What were their occupations?
What was the occupation? My dad was a boilermaker. And my mother was, of course, a housewife.
Do you have any siblings? If so, what are their names?
I have a sister. Or, you're talking about my children or brothers and sisters?
Brothers and sisters.
I have one sister left out of 8.
What were their names?
Oh, Cyril, Emily, Johnny, Annie, Rita. Annie is the one that's still alive. My sister is the only one left out of 8 of us. Annie is her name.
What were you doing with your life before you entered the service?
Well, I was a mailman.
And which branch of the service did you serve?
The Army in the infantry.
Did you enlist or were you drafted?
I was drafted.
Why did you choose the Pacific branch of the military that you were in?
Huh?
Why did you choose the Pacific branch of the military that you were in?
Well, it wasn't my choice, actually.
Would you tell me about when you departed from training camp and your training camp experience?
Well, when I was first inducted in the Army, they put me in basic training, and then from there they send us to the coast, California coastline, to guard the shipyards, Richmond shipyards, because they thought the Japanese were going to come in. And then I stayed there for I would say about a year, and then from there they shipped us overseas.
Do you recall your instructors?
Huh?
Do you recall your instructors? If so, what were they like?
Oh, well, Zupo was the first sergeant. That's all I can tell you. Zupo was his name.
Did you receive any specialized training?
Huh?
Did you receive any specialized training?
No, ma'am. In the Army, I was, in one case, I was a gunner on a second in command of a gun command of a gun. And of course, in the infantry, I was a foot soldier. So there was didn't gain anything by it.
How did you adapt to military life?
Well, it was easy for me to adapt to it because I was an orphan. So when the Army took me in, they put a roof on my head, food on the table, and a bed to sleep on. So I adjusted accordingly because I knew what rough life was like. I knew what it was not to have food to eat. Because, like I said, I was an orphan. So I adapted it as far as the Army. I was fine with the Army. The only thing is that I'm blind in one eye, and they should have never sent me in the infantry because I could never see the man coming at me with a bayonet. I would never see him. Only one eye. I can only see this. I can't see this. That was the bad thing about that. That's the only thing I disagree with them 100%. I didn't mind being in the Army. But when you're in the infantry, you're in jeopardy. But when you're in the infantry, you only have one eye, you're in double jeopardy. Because I can only guard myself on one side, I can't guard the other side because I'm blind in that side. And I was blind since I was 11 years old. They shouldn't have never taken me in the Army in the first place, but they did, and I go along with it. I went along with it.
Where did you serve? Where did you serve?
Where did I what?
Where did you serve?
Serve in Europe.
What are some memories that you have of that experience?
What did I what?
What are some memories that you have of that experience?
With the training?
Uh-huh.
Well, the people that I met. You meet so many people from different walks of life. So you have to adjust accordingly.
If you were on the front lines, what combat action did you witness?
Battle of the Bulge. I fought in the Battle of the Bulge. I was in Patton's army. I was in the 90th Infantry Division.
What were some of your other duties?
In the army. Well, like I said, I was just a gunner on a gun crew. That was about when I was in the States. But when I was, as far as the infantry was concerned, you were a foot soldier. You go out there and do the killing and the tracing.
What kind of friendships did you form while serving, and with whom?
What kind of
Friendships.
friendship did I gain? Well, like I said, you meet so many different kind of people, different walks of life. The different way the people from the South, the way they talked, the way they thought, how they do things. Everything was at a slow pace. I'm from Chicago. We run all the time. We're always running in Chicago. When you come from a big city, you're always running. And you're not going no place and you're always running.
How did you stay in touch with family and friends back home?
Well, I couldn't keep in touch because I only had one sister left. The only communication that I sent 2 letters and they saved the letters. They did save the letters that I wrote to them, but not that often. I didn't have time when I was in the infantry. You don't have time for that.
What did you do for recreation?
What?
What did you do for recreation?
Recreation, well, we played cards while in service. I played cards and whatever we could come up with, But cards was the only thing. Then maybe we shoot a little dice, and that was our recreation as far as the service is concerned.
Where were you when the war ended?
I was in just the other side of Slovakia.
How did you return home?
I came back by boat, of course, and I can't remember the boat, but the boat that I went to Europe was on the Queen Elizabeth. The Queen Elizabeth is one I sailed on.
How were you received by your family and community?
When I came home, well, I'll tell you what happened. When the boat appeared in New York, there were people, I don't know how, but they knew that the boat was coming in, what was going to happen, and the mothers come up and grabbing the hold of their sons and the fathers, and I stood on the side and I cried because I didn't have nobody to come. My parents were all gone, and my brothers and sisters were, like I said, were all gone too. So one woman asked her son, she said, "What is that man do?" She said, "Mommy, he was an orphan." Oh, she came over and she hugged me for about 10 minutes, and she held me, and we both cried. Yeah, because it was, in other words, there was nobody to greet me like it was for them, the mothers and the brothers and sisters. There was nobody to greet me. I just stood on the side, cried.
How did you adjust to civilian life?
Well, it was hard because being one eye, no one would hire you. When I came back, and the company that I worked for before closed up. They closed shop. In other words, they retired. They closed the place up. So I was without a job. I had a heck of a time finding a job. I had 2 brothers, 2 sisters, and 1 brother to support, and I had no job. So I had so many different. See, at that time, ma'am, today they would be called discrimination if they went against me because they have one eye. Somebody would have to hire me, but at that time, the discrimination you couldn't hire. No. You don't have to hire him. He's blind in one eye. They always thought the insurance company was against that because if something would happen to one other eye, I could have sued them. You know what I mean? So you never know about that.
Have you remained in contact with veterans, other veterans?
Yes, we did. I'll give you an example. Frank Johnson lost both his legs. A German cut off his legs with a machine gun. And we came and we got together. And we just happened together at a man's house. The bathrooms were upstairs. And he couldn't use the bathroom because he couldn't walk, because he had no legs. So we had the woman had to they got a big pan for him and put him in the kitchen, and we closed the doors and we let him make his duty in there. It's the only way that he could do it. He had no legs, he couldn't go to the bathroom. But I did correspond with just a couple of them. But from what I understand, most of them are dead. I'm going to be 93 in November, so quite a few of them have died since they've come back from war.
Are you a member of any veteran organization?
No, I'm not, and I wish I would have joined. I'm sorry. I say that over 1,000 times. I'm sorry I never joined one of the organizations, but I was so glad to get out of the Army. I didn't pay no attention to it, and I made a big mistake.
What have you done since separating from the military?
Well, raise my children, for one thing. Nothing really special. I had to adjust according to life. What I seen in war is still bothering me in the mind. I have that comeback when I get up at night screaming. And the big thing that I always scream about is that I keep hollering, stay on my left, stay on my left. I wanted somebody while I was in combat, while I was on the front line, I wanted somebody on my left-hand side. He don't have to stand next to me, but as long as he protected my left-hand side. And at night I get up at night and I'm screaming, stay on my left-hand side, my left-hand side. It happens so often. It comes back to me, it flashes back to me. And there's so many of the fellows that were on the left-hand side got killed. They were killed. Because it's shells is what killed the artillery, you know.
How did your wartime or military experience affect your life?
Huh?
How did your wartime or military experience affect your life?
Well, it's with the mind. It did affect that. It has affected my mind. I adapted easy because, like I said, I was an orphan, so I knew what it was to be poor. I knew what it was not to have food. So I adapted myself easily to everything that came along.
What are some lessons you learned from the military service?
Well, I learned one thing, that there's so many different types of people in the Army. You have to learn to get along with people. You have to get along with people. Do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. And that's what I've learned.
Has your military service impacted your feelings about war and the military in general?
Well, it was a funny thing though. When we went to the Army, I came in Le Havre, and then they put us on a truck and they were taking us to the front lines. And when we come to the front lines, they unloaded the truck. And where did they unload the truck? There were 20 bodies in black bags, American GIs laying in the road. And they said, and the sergeant says to me, to all of us because we're all coming, the first time we're coming to the front lines, he says, don't forget to keep your heads down or you'll end up like one of these guys. And it scared the hell out of us. It was a hell of a thing for us to see, right from the side, to see dead bodies. You didn't see their faces because whenever we shot any, we covered their face. If we didn't cover the rest of the body, at least cover the face. We had to cover the face. To look at a dead person in the face is, the body you could, all right, take with, but when it comes to the face, you always cover the face. You always cover the face. With what you could, whatever, sometimes you couldn't cover it, you know, because you didn't have nothing to cover up with, but, or you turn them over too. A lot of times we turned them over, so they wouldn't, you know.
What message would you like to leave for future generations who will all view this interview?
Pray for peace. That's what we have to do. Pray for peace. Pray that we never get into another war. We've lost too many young ones. My God, when we think even, now since I've been living, since being 93 years old, I've seen 6 wars. 6 wars. Vietnam, Korea, all these other small wars that we've been having. I went through 6 wars that I've seen. I would say try to keep the peace. Stay away from, and if possible, vote for someone that's going to keep us out of war.
Is there anything that we haven't discussed that you would like to add to this interview?
Well, I would say one thing, that I prayed a lot. I think prayers is the best medicine there is. I still, to this day, I thank the good Lord for what I went through in my lifetime, being an orphan, being blind in one eye, going up to the front lines, and how many times the people next to me were dying, and I was lucky enough not to get hit. So I was pretty lucky. And like I said, I prayed and thanked the good Lord, and I still do till today.
In closing, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to interview you and participate in the Veterans History Project.
Okay. And it's been so nice to meet. I thank you. Thank all of you for coming out, folks. God bless you all. All right? Okay?